Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today we're tackling a question that lots of you have been asking. Is Novo Nordisk a good time to buy right now? We're going to be piecing together all the clues, financials, market buzz, what's coming down the pike to figure out if this is a smart move for your portfolio. Before we jump in, if you find these discussions helpful, please think about subscribing, liking, maybe leaving a comment. It really does help us out. And hey, if you feel like buying us a coffee, there's a link for that in the description. Oh, and if there's a company you want us to look into next time, just drop it in the comments below. Let us know.
Okay.
Let's get into it. Novo Nordisk, when we look at the core business, the fundamentals, what's the story there? Is the company actually healthy?
Yeah, it's fundamentally, it looks very strong. You're seeing solid revenue growth, really quite significant profit margins, and the cash flows are healthy too. A lot of this power comes from their diabetes and increasingly obesity care segments.
Right, the weight loss drugs everyone's talking about.
Yeah. Exactly. Ozempic is the star, really. It's a true blockbuster. We're talking projections of around, what, $17 billion in sales just for 2024.
$17 billion. Wow.
Yeah. And the Q1 results for 2025, they just back that up. Continued strength. It's almost like, a tech disruptor, but in the pharma space.
That's a huge number from just one drug, though. Isn't there a risk in relying so heavily on Ozempic? What if competition heats up faster or regulations change?
That's definitely the key question, the potential vulnerability, and smart investors are looking at that. But Novo Nordisk isn't just sitting back. They do have a really strong competitive position, a big slice of the market share in diabetes and obesity. And critically, they have a promising drug pipeline. It's not just about Ozempic today.
Okay. So they're looking ahead.
Absolutely. They're investing in what's next, which boosts that long-term growth potential and hopefully diversifies things down the road. It definitely helps mitigate some of that single drug dependency risk you mentioned.
All right, so fundamentally, sounds pretty good. Solid foundation, looking to the future. But what about the price tag? Is it expensive? How does the valuation look, especially, compared to other big pharma companies?
Right. The price you pay matters. So Novo Nordisk's current PE ratio, the trailing one, is sitting around 14.
Okay.
And the forward PE, looking ahead, is about 12.
How does that stack up? Is that high, low, average?
Well, in the context of the pharmaceutical sector and considering its growth prospects, that's generally seen as moderate. Pretty reasonable, actually. However, there's a but. Some analysts definitely argue the stock's trading at a bit of a premium.
Or is that just the Ozempic hype?
Pretty much. There's just so much enthusiasm around Ozempic's success and what it could mean for the future. It feels like the market might already be pricing in some of that future success.
Which could mean?
It could mean more potential for short-term volatility, maybe even a correction if expectations get ahead of reality, because some of the good news might already be in the price, so to speak.
Okay, so maybe price for perfection or close to it.
Yeah.
You mentioned analysts. Are they all seeing the same thing? What are the price targets telling us? Is there a big disagreement?
Yeah, there's actually a really wide range, which often happens with stocks that are, generating a lot of buzz and debate. You see this average 12-month target floating around $112.
Wow, $112. That's a huge jump from where it is now, isn't it? What's the upside there?
It's massive, over 130% upside from current levels. That's clearly driven by, extreme optimism about the long term.
But there's always a but.
But, exactly. Then you look at more conservative, maybe near-term forecasts, and they're pointing to prices more in the range of, say, $50 to $86.
Quite a difference. $50, $86 versus $112.
A big difference. It signals that while the long-term dream is big, the path there in the near term, much less certain. It really reflects that potential volatility in the debate that's happening. Investors need to figure out why that gap exists.
Okay, fundamentals strong. Valuation maybe a bit rich. Analyst views are kind of split long-term versus short-term. Let's switch to the charts. What about the technical picture right now? What are the signals telling traders?
Technically speaking, the picture right now is actually leaning bearish, short-term at least.
Bearish. How so?
Well, look at the 14-day RSI, the relative strength index. It's hovering near 34.
And that means?
Generally, below 30 is considered oversold, suggesting maybe it's been pushed down too much, too fast, and could be due for a bounce. So 34 is getting close. It shows strong recent selling pressure. And maybe more importantly, the stock is trading below both its 50-day and its 200-day simple moving averages.
Right. Key levels for trend followers.
Exactly. Being below both usually signals a short-term downtrend, or maybe that the stock is just consolidating, moving sideways after a fall.
Is it super volatile?
The volatility itself is moderate, around 10%. It's not swinging wildly day to day, but the direction, the momentum lately, it's been mixed to negative. So the technicals definitely flash a caution sign for short-term plays right now.
It's funny how sometimes the fundamentals look great, but the chart tells a different story in the short term, isn't it? That whole market irrationality thing.
It really is. And that highlights why your investment time frame is so crucial. What looks like a problem for a short-term trader, this technical weakness, might actually be an opportunity for a long-term investor if they believe in the fundamentals.
Right, a chance to buy on a dip, potentially.
Potentially, yes. This current setup suggests caution now, but it also sets the stage for a possible bounce or a trend reversal if sentiment shifts or we get some positive news. Patience is key.
Speaking of news, what's the latest buzz around Novo Nordisk? Any recent developments or upcoming events that could really move the needle?
Yeah, there's been some positive stuff reinforcing the fundamentals. We've seen some management changes recently, always worth noting. More tangibly, they're pushing hard on capacity expansions. There was news about a new site in Brazil, for example. They need to make more of these drugs to meet the demand.
Trying to keep up with Ozempic demand, I guess.
Exactly. And as we mentioned, the strong Q1 results also helped paint a picture of good operational health.
Okay.
Okay, key dates and events. The big one, new term, is the next earnings report. That's scheduled for August 11th, 2025.
Always a market mover.
Always. Beyond that, keep an eye on any news about pipeline drug approvals. A successful new drug coming through could be huge. Also, further updates on those production expansions are important. Can they actually make enough product? And then there are the broader macroeconomic factors, shifts in pharma pricing policies, overall healthcare spending trends. Those can impact the whole sector.
So lots of things that could drive it higher long term, but also potential for short-term bumps depending on how they play out.
Precisely. These things could really fuel medium to long-term gains, or they could just add to the short-term choppiness.
Makes sense.
Like-
Now, we have to talk risks. Every investment has them. What are the main potential headwinds facing Novo Nordisk that investors really need to keep in mind?
Absolutely. For Novo, you've got sector-specific risks. Regulatory changes are always a factor in pharma pricing rules. Approval processes can change. Pricing pressure is a constant battle. Governments, insurers, they always want lower drug costs.
Especially for blockbuster drugs like Ozempic.
Especially. Competition is another big one. The success in obesity and diabetes is attracting a lot of attention, so other companies are racing to develop rival treatments. That could eat into market share eventually. And like we touched on, broader economic uncertainty could impact healthcare spending overall.
What about the stock's volatility itself? Is it a wild ride?
Actually, no. It has a surprisingly low beta, around 0.22. Meaning it tends to be much less volatile than the overall market. So even if the market's choppy, Novo tends to be a bit steadier, like a large ship.
Okay, so less general market risk.
Less general market risk, yes. But there's still specific stock risk. The price could still correct if that valuation premium unwinds or if market sentiment just sours on the stock for a while. Liquidity isn't an issue, though. It's a huge company, around $212 billion market cap, trades a lot of shares daily.
Okay, so low beta, but still risks around valuation and competition.
That sums it up well. Fundamentally very solid.
All right, let's bring it all together. We've looked at the strong fundamentals, the slightly premium valuation, the bearish short-term technicals, the mixed sentiment, future catalysts, and the risks. What's the verdict? For someone considering Novo Nordisk, what's the overall assessment and what's a smart way to approach it?
Okay, pulling all those threads. The overall assessment comes out pretty strong. I'd give it a maybe 7.5 out of 10.
7.5, so pretty good.
Yeah, it signifies a high-quality company, fundamentally sound, great long-term growth drivers, especially with Ozempic and the obesity drug pipeline. That part is clear. But the valuation, while reasonable, isn't dirt cheap. And the near-term technicals and sentiment suggest caution. There could be volatility, maybe a price dip. So it really shapes up as a much more attractive long-term investment story than, say, a quick short-term trade right now.
Right. Play a long game here.
That seems to be the smarter approach based on the current picture. It's like they found this incredible opportunity, but the market knows it, and we need to be strategic about getting in.
Okay, so for those long-term investors, what kind of entry price looks reasonable? Should they jump in now or wait for a dip?
For someone with a long horizon, starting a position around current levels, say near $48, or layering in buys up to the $50-$55 range, seems reasonable. You could view any near-term dips, if they happen, as opportunities to add more, building your position over time rather than going all in at once.
And what about the short-term traders? You said caution was needed. What should they wait for?
For shorter term plays, patience is probably wise. I'd want to see clearer technical confirmation before jumping in. That could mean waiting for the RSI indicator to climb back above 40, showing momentum is shifting, or seeing the price break decisively above that 50-day moving average, which is currently around $69.
Okay.
Or you could even wait to see how the market reacts after that August 11th earnings report. A positive surprise there could provide a clearer signal. Waiting reduces the risk of catching a falling knife, so to speak.
Makes sense. And risk management, stop losses, profit targets. How should folks think about those, differentiating between short-term and long-term approaches?
Good question. They're definitely different. For short-term traders, given the potential volatility, a tighter stop loss makes sense, maybe 5% to 7% below your entry.
So if you buy at $48, maybe a stop around $45 or $46.
Exactly, something like that, to limit the downside if the technical weakness continues. Take profit targets. Maybe aim for that $55-$60 range initially, based on potential bounces. For long-term investors, though, the strategy is usually different. You might use much wider stops, or maybe no hard stop loss at all, instead planning to buy more if the price drops significantly, assuming the fundamental story hasn't changed.
Averaging down, essentially.
Right, averaging down or simply holding through the volatility because you believe in the company's value over years, not days or weeks. The focus is riding out the bumps because the underlying fundamentals are strong. So this whole assessment tries to balance that fundamental strength and long-term potential against the current technical caution and the inherent sector risks.
Okay, that's a really helpful breakdown. So to recap for everyone listening, Novo Nordisk looks fundamentally solid. Huge long-term potential, especially from those obesity and diabetes drugs, but short-term. Be aware of the technical signals pointing down and the mixed market mood. Maybe more of a long-term hold than a quick flip right now. And here's something to think about as we wrap up. As Ozempic and similar drugs continue this incredible growth, what does that mean for the entire healthcare system? Think about the ripple effects on insurance costs, on doctors' visits, maybe even on food companies. What are the wider consequences of this revolution in weight management? It's a massive question that goes way beyond just Novo Nordisk's stock price. Definitely something to ponder. Thank you so much for joining us for this analysis today. We really hope it gave you some valuable insights into Novo Nordisk. We look forward to exploring more fascinating topics with you next time on Investing Talk Podcast.